Hello, hello, and welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you today. This is the first show of the year, Monday. I hope you're starting this week fantastic. I hope this year bring us all a new perspective, new experiences, and new exciting opportunities, and hopefully that we can actually meet a little bit more in person together this year. So these are all my hopes and wishes. Yet today, I'm thrilled because I think, we all are excited for the beginning, but let's also keep in mind to pursue and persist in the long run. My name is Jana Masick, and I'm the host of this LinkedIn Live broadcast, Powering Unique You. So today, it's a very engaging conversation. It is going to be a phenomenal guest. I am so thrilled to have this lady on the show today. And we're going to talk about how to create a happy, collaborative work family. This is a very important point. And you create this happy, collaborative work family for increased retention. You want to retain your talent. You want to keep your best talent engaged and best performing for great revenue, for reviews and return customers. And who to find better than to talk on this subject than this phenomenal lady? She had over 30 years experience in customer experience and enhancement. And this lady, she started following her parents as they operated McDonald's number 150. And as she learned and absorbed how to make a best customer experience, she fell in love with employee experience. Then she moved and worked as a designer in New York, Italy, and Hong Kong. She knows 5 languages. I'm just going to admire this lady just for that. Oh my goodness. Then she also learned how to be the chef, and she was the best in managing the food industry and working as a top food stylist. She started in Paris, and then she worked with amazing brands as Harrods, Godiva, and Food Magazine, Oprah Magazine, and Good Morning America, and the Today Show. So this lady is just amazing, and you will love her just as I love her so much. She also did some wonderful sales, over 27 millions in revenue in real estate in New York and Texas. And now, enjoying her experience and pollinating strategies from her amazing, diverse background, she loves to share her knowledge as a speaker, author, and high-level consultant for companies to help them create a 5-star customer experience. Well, without further ado, I would love to bring in Jill Roth. Hello, Jill.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Happy New Year to you.
Yes. Happy New Year's.
And to everyone.
Yes, everyone, as you're joining in, say hello to Jill. Say, how are you doing today? We are so happy to be here with you and discuss a fantastic topic. This is for you, and we want this to be as engaging and as value-packed possible. Jill, you have such an amazing experience. You have such an amazing background, and no wonder you are so passionate about experiences, right? Because it seems like your whole career was all sorts of experiences. Maybe tell us something that really impacted you on this journey of yours.
I think you summed that up really well. I view life as an adventure and to experience. And I was really fortunate that I grew up in a family with parents who really led by example. They were entrepreneurs. They went into McDonald's in 1959 when it was a 4-year-old business and they had no idea. It wasn't like now you buy a franchise and you know what it is. It was a hamburger business, selling for 15 cents. People thought that was crazy and it was a big risk. But they took that risk and worked hard. And I was a part of that. I grew up working in the business and hearing it and going to conventions and really integrating, I think, the values that McDonald's was created on and that became what it is because of Ray Kroc's QSC&V, this quality, service, cleanliness, and value, and working and seeing the way my father worked with his management and then working in the stores where no one knew I was the owner's child and seeing how the management worked with the crew and you know, and I took that on. I always loved fashion, so I followed my dream to become a fashion designer, and I did that for many years. And throughout the various industries that I worked in, as you highlighted, I realized later on that when I looked back, that the common thread really that even though I was exploring different parts of my personality and passions that I love, that common thing was really the people part, the putting the
Yes.
people first and looking at the experience of the employees and of the customers. And so that's really what has linked all of this together.
I love it. And I love your journey. I admire your ability of pivoting. I admire that you were so open in exploring not just different industries, but going in different countries, living in different places, starting from scratch. This is an amazing, I think the spirit of adventure, like you said, that creates the experiences for yourself. And now that you've absorbed all of this through different interactions with cultures, within countries, you can sum up very nicely. And what is it? What is it? Great employee experience, and why is it important, Jill?
So a great employee experience to me is recognizing that it is in fact your employees that are responsible for the success of your company. It is creating the environment and the culture within your company that recognizes and appreciates their choice to do business and work with you. I believe
Mm-hmm.
that the employees are the first line customers. So when I talk about customers, I really think about both the employee and the customer because it it does have to start inside as we'll talk about later, but inside is your employees, what's going on inside your company, and what happens there will affect what happens on the outside. But it's the employees inside that will that you have to teach, right? You have to educate them about what your cultures are, what your culture is, the culture that you want, the values that you have, how to do the functional training, as well as, to me, those those core essential educational pieces about who you are. And
Yeah.
when you do all that, then you're creating an environment where your employees can enjoy working there. They feel like they want to come to work, not because they have to go collect a paycheck. And
Mm-hmm.
that to me is what great employee experience is. And the representative, the result of what great employee experience is would be higher and increased retention.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that how you put it together, that it starts, the customer experience starts within. And each employee is a customer.
Yeah.
And when you care and when you truly treasure and when you create the environment to thrive for employees, for your employees to thrive, not just survive, like you said, not just to come and collect paycheck and run off, it spreads. It's like you sowing the seeds, you planting them into the hearts of people that work for you and with you, and then those people most likely be more empowered and encouraged to spread that love and care into external customers. And in your view, and maybe in your experience, how those two both are connected and linked together, the employee experience and customer experience.
So the employee, it starts inside with the employees. And once you have created that environment inside where everyone has each other's backs, everyone respects each other, everyone's there to pick up whatever needs to be done. It's not an environment where everyone's like, no, that's not my task. I'm not doing that. You know, instead it's like, oh, what needs to be done? Let me jump in and help. And so when you do that, not only are you, from a business perspective, creating a better business because everything's going to be taken care of the way it needs to be for the end customer, but in doing so, you're also creating a true work family. You're creating an environment of people where someone's got your back and you're going to have their back. And it is, like you said, it's contagious. It completely
Mm-hmm.
is contagious. And so and it's the universal law of reciprocity. Someone helps you and does right by you, you are going to naturally want to help someone else. And so when you create that environment, and then they are your front facing force to your end customers, when you've got this great energy and this feeling of loving doing what they're doing, then they go to the customer, that energy flows out. There is no way to stop it. And so the customer is going to feel that. And the customer is going to also feel taken care of, respected, that their problem's been resolved, that their need has been resolved. It's not always a problem. And so they're so intrinsically linked that there is no way you can have great customer experience without first having great employee experience.
I love that you tied it together like a chain link. It's
They are linked.
inseparable. It's inseparable. And this is so true. And looking back at my own experience, it is true that, it's a noble desire. And I think for leaders, we touched a little bit about, for leaders of the company, for the executives of the company, it needs to be at the core forefront of the vision and their message. Yet it is important to almost to penetrate that down the lines to the front workers. And having that vision and care, it starts from the top and it goes down. And if it's really created a culture of this linking, created a culture of the, accountability yet respect, care yet being safe, knowing that you can do your best, you can come and bring your best to the table. That is really not an easy task to do, right, Jill?
It isn't, because there are many personalities, right?
Yes.
And everybody comes to work. Well, let's unpack this. Let's start, first of all, forget about what's happened at home before they come to work, or what mood, excuse me.
And now we're all working from home pretty much, so it's hard to separate that.
That's true. I'm trying to think post-COVID, right? We're going to hopefully be out of this relatively soon. So yes, let's tie it into even now. Before you close that door and walk into your room where you're going to be doing work. But beyond that, even when an employee is hired by their company, they are coming with all that they are, all that they know. And their experience is going to be very different from someone else's experience. And so it really is important for the managers, the executive management, whomever it is, depending upon the level of your work and where you fit within the organization, that they almost create a level set. And so that everyone's coming from the same place, so that if you have certain expectations, they need to be clearly identified even before you're saying, yes, we're going to hire you. You need to lay that out in advance. But once you do all of that and you have agreement, then you need to maximize those employees that have come with that experience, or maybe they grew up, like I was fortunate. Any job I came to, I came with a certain level of, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm just talking about this position. I came with a certain level of understanding of business and a strong work ethic, because of what I was very fortunate. It wasn't really I had nothing to claim on it. It was something that I was fortunate to be exposed to early on, but not everybody had that. And so you have to really take those people and let them be models and leaders for your other people who maybe haven't experienced that. And then you need to reinforce and bring those other people to that point, make them feel just as important. And what I believe is that we need to create leaders at every level of the business. So it's not just leadership telling someone what to do. It's letting them set an example for others, and then trusting. So I have this, it's called an E3 formula. It's the educate, engage, and entrust. And you use that throughout your business. And you have to start with the education piece, which is the core values and what you stand for and what you expect, both how you treat each other in the within your employees as well as the end customer. And it goes on and on.
Yes, I love this, Jill.
Yeah, is the entrust, is that you have to then let people say, let people show you that you can trust them.
Mm-hmm.
And then that it's going to level everything out. And believe it or not, like, I think the concept is pretty simple. I know it might be more difficult to employ, but it's certainly possible.
I do agree with you. And I think it starts with willingness. And I believe most of the people are willing. And when you have this safety net and when you really, believe that your intentions are positive and the intentions of those around you positive and creating this constructive
Mm,
collaboration environment, like I love your definition of work family, right? So no matter what happens, there may be some disagreements or things that you may not align with, yet you always know that there is a safety net there, that there's a
yeah.
people that you can trust. And that really becomes a true foundation. And we have some people joining in. Thank you so much for coming into today's show on Monday. I have my friend Sandra saying Happy New Year to everybody. I'm so excited, Sandra, to have you here. I'm glad you found a great, amazing company to join, and looking forward to staying in touch. Douglas, greetings. Happy New Year. Douglas, thank you for tuning in this morning. Laura, my friend, hello, hello. So happy to see you. She's saying it's been a difficult year to stay powerful, but we just have to in order to survive. I agree, Laura. I think it's been a challenging year for each one of us. And let's push ourselves a little bit, not just to survive, but to thrive a little bit at a time, a step at a time, right? It's been my motto. I'm like, everybody's trying to survive. I'm trying to survive. Let's create some pockets of our lives where we feel that we're thriving a little bit, right? And then increase that. I think it's important to be intentional in that regard. And that's been one of my intentions for this year is let create the pockets where I feel I'm more accomplished and I'm not just surviving, but making progress toward being thriving. Jill, now let's talk about important framework. And we touched a little bit on that in the beginning. Inside out framework, and how is it related to the experiences from the employee experience to the customer experience?
Yes. So the process that I created in order to deliver training so that we can make these things happen, which you talk about are important, but how do we actually do it, right? So I do it through working with people using the inside out framework, EX to CX, as that framework that everything hangs on. And basically it means that we do start in the inside. You have to get your house in order first, right? Before you're putting it out to the world. And it means that the great experiences have to start with your employees first. And, you know, a quick summary of what the steps kind of that goes through. What happened is I took all of the experiences that I had and I saw how businesses, are doing. There's a lot of really bad experiences out there, unfortunately. And I knew I had to do something. So I kind of thought through all my experiences and I took the experiences and the principles from the past that I knew were solid and worked well. And I put it together with innovative ideas from today and recognize that thinking of the employee experience journey and the customer experience journey and really how those things mesh. And so after dissecting them, what I came up with is basically the first is core values. It seems obvious, but even sometimes small companies don't think about doing that. And I think no matter what size you are, even if you're a solopreneur until you're a, 100 Inc. company, you need to establish your core values and figure out what that means, who you are, what you stand for, how you want to be perceived, and how you want to behave within your company, and how you want to treat each other and how you want to treat your customers needs to be as a part of that core values. And then from there, of course, you've got to have people to represent your business to sell whatever products or offerings, services that you have. So you have core value recruitment. Again, it has to be in alignment. Whoever you bring in, your hiring, your interviewing process needs to be in alignment with that. Onboarding, once you're bringing people in, the third step is onboarding. Again, onboarding needs to educate. This is where the first element of my 3E formula comes in. You need to educate your people, not just train them on the functional skill part.
Yes.
You need to actually educate them. And then, without going into too much real overview, 50,000 foot level is, and the onboarding piece also incorporates engagement. You really need to start to engage your people so that they know what they're a part of and what's expected of them. And then the E3 part, making sure that with your ongoing training that you're having, that you have both the engagement and the entrust part. So people will step up and take action on their own because they feel like they've been made a leader as well. And then lastly, the ongoing part is also recognizing your people for who they are, not just their employees, to make them feel appreciated for what they do for you. And lastly, call to action and what I call fortune follow through with your customers who have given you business so that they know that you appreciate them. You don't forget them once they've, closed out that bill or receipt or invoice or whatever it is that you're doing. And it just keeps going. So it starts with
Yes.
referrals, internal referrals, and it ends with external referrals. And so it's the cycle that really never ends.
Yes, I love this. I love how you put the framework together based on your experience and your knowledge, really global insights that you're bringing into that, Jill. And I believe that how you framed it is very valuable in understanding. And you touched it from the corporate level. And I want to give a little bit of a mirroring on a personal level. A lot of companies talk about values, yet I believe as a professionals, this is the most important exercise for anyone. If you're a professional, if you're working either for yourself or a consultant or an employee, this is the best exercise you could do for yourself and for your future and for your career success or your professional success, is to determine your values and look at understanding who you are, bringing that self-awareness. So if the corporations, the companies, whether mid-size, small size, big size, are establishing those values and they're devoted to living up to those values. And then professionals, the people, the talent, global talent, they know their values. They know what they're standing for. They know what's important to that. If those match, it's like a magic happen. And the challenge, what I've seen is, many companies, they have values on the boards, but when you look at their true culture and they look at how they live and how they operate, it's like, say, do as I say, but don't do as I do, right? And they don't match. There is incoherence in there. And then a lot of professionals, a lot of people, we tend to give ourselves or through ourselves into the jobs that may not align to who we truly are. So we're not taking time, or maybe we are not taught, or maybe we're not, think about it, of taking time of digging deeper into self-awareness and really understanding what drives us, what we value, what truly make an impact for us. And then looking for the job alignment, looking for your professional alignment, and not being afraid on pivoting. You're the best example, Jill, and pivoting, to say, let me explore this industry, or then let me go dive into this industry. And that's okay to do so, because a lot of skills that are transferable across the industries. And I think more and more going forward, it is going to be a theme where previously people stayed in jobs for 15, 20 years. And right now we see the trend where, more and more people, they're looking for different ventures. They're looking for different occupations and things like that. And I think this is really valuable in how you structure that and, give that framework, a way to really create that kind of a culture that bring in the engagement for the employees and then extend it into outside for the customers.
Yeah, I think you raised an excellent point, Jana, that a lot of times companies will go to the effort of establishing those values, but then they are just, if they're on the wall or they're in a book, no one sees them, or in a filing cabinet. And one great way that you can make sure that that's incorporated every day, one strategy I love is called the Daily Huddle. And you can have a daily huddle, and you can have your huddle be unique to your company, unique to your business, your personalities. And, and it should be very short, 10, 15 minutes max, even really try to make it 10. And so people don't feel like it's another burden, right? It's something that they look forward to. And one suggestion that I make with regards specifically to the value piece is every day incorporate one value that's important to your company, that's in your core values, mission, vision statements, and incorporate that, and then have everyone live into that for the day. And then the next day's daily huddle, you introduce a new one, but you go back and you say, okay, what was yesterday's? Who best exemplified yesterday's core value? And you have rewards and you celebrate them, and every day. And so you go through until you get to the end of all your values, and then you start again. And so after a while, it's going to become second nature. They're
Mm-hmm.
just know it. They're going to live it. They're going to be it, because it will have been integrated every day in their work.
Yes, I love this example. It's very practical, Jill. And again, if they are aligned, the values of the company and the values of the individuals, then the individual is going to be like, yes, let me go conquer the world. Let me go make it
That's it.
happen.
That's right.
It's going to be really a thriving environment that will spread in. We're talking about bringing more revenue, bringing more customers, flourishing business. Who doesn't want that? Especially, going into this year, right?
Yeah.
I love this. Jill, how about emotional intelligence? Let's chat a little bit about this. This is a big word, and how can we unwrap this in that framework or in the theme of our today's conversation in relation to employee experience and customer experience?
Yes. So emotional intelligence is a newer, not new expression by Daniel Goleman, who's really the expert in that space. And it plays off of the idea that you have your IQ, your intellectual quotient, and the IQ is, how quickly you take on a task, what you know, your knowledge. But the EQ is your emotional quotient, and it's the same as EI, because it's your emotional intelligence. It's how well you are aware of other people and their feelings, their thoughts, their actions. How in tune are you with what's going on with someone else and how you speak to them about it? So that is the foundation and the core that's really important in order to create that great employee experience, to get everyone really in alignment and empathizing with each other. You need to develop your EI, their emotional intellect, in your company. And my E3 formula really plays on that, because that's the foundation of the Inside Out framework, because it's all about the people. It's the human capital element of
Mm-hmm.
the business. And when you have really high EI in your company, when you teach that and you because not everyone's going to come that way. Not everyone's made that way. I have 2 kids, and their EI is very different from one another. Granted, one's a boy, one's a girl, and they're different
Yes.
ages. But, that is something that can be developed by setting an example, by letting them know what you expect of them and letting them live into that, and then praising them for that. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
positively reinforce when you see those great people to people connections, those supportive things. And that's why it affects the experience. There's no way it doesn't. It's really the main foundation.
Yes, I agree with you. And it's very interesting that the human capital, I like this, that you said human capital. And I feel going into the artificial intelligence, there are a lot of things that will most likely be automated in the future. Yet
Mhm.
this human connection, the human feelings, the emotional part of it, where we feel again respected, we feel belonging, we feel appreciated, we feel being heard. That is gonna be, I think, getting on the higher and higher demand, so to speak,
Mm.
because I don't believe artificial intelligence will be able to replicate that. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody will create something similar, but I think that emotions and feelings and how to relate to human beings and how to build those lasting connections, and also create an environment for people to be willing to go extra mile, for people to be willing to greet that customer with a smile, not because they have to, but because they reflect again how they've been treated, right? And it's
Yes.
it's it's interesting then if we get that implantation of grace and joy and fulfillment, it's just pouring out automatically. So it's I feel this is a field or an area where Each one, no matter what kind of profession you're in, no matter what kind of job title you have, each one of us need to continuously grow and develop and learn new things and implement them in our lives. It's going to serve us and our companies very well.
So much. I'm so glad you said that. It's so beautiful. Thank you. Because I agree. I truly believe that that will be the differentiator, and that people will go that extra mile when you have shown that you believe in them. When they feel empowered, they will go that extra mile for you. It's statistically, it's shown as well. And the idea of AI, artificial intelligence is taking over a lot of jobs. But what will never happen, and I shouldn't say never, because we never know what's going to be, right? But I think, at least in my lifetime, and in fact, again, studies have been showing that what will be the differentiator going forward as AI is taking over a lot of the jobs is that the EI, the emotional intelligence piece of someone and what they bring to the table, cannot be replicated. So use the artificial intelligence to do the routine, the rote tasks, to make things faster and easier. And then that should allow more time for us as human beings to connect with our customers as humans, because people are people first and their customers second. So when we
Yes.
remember that, the AI will take care of all that other stuff, will speed things up, affecting a better customer experience. But it also will allow us as employees, as managers, as solopreneurs, more time to connect with our other people, our customers, our other employees. And that is going to be more valuable than anything else.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think my doggo, come on, Chipo. This is a live video for you. I think my dog, my daughter didn't take him out. Let me just open the door for him. Come on, Chip, go out and let him outside. He was walking around not happy, and now he's telling me, let me out. All right, I'm going to let him out.
Dogs
Okay.
even tell us what they need. I love it.
Yes, it's a communication tool. Here we go. Like, okay, I won't gonna have to make you wait until I finish. I love this, Jill. I think we're so much on the same page in this philosophy and thinking about how to enhance human connection, how to enhance human experiences, how to I say brighten up and make it memorable. And I think looking at the how people, a lot of people making decisions, they say, well, a lot of people, they make decisions by logic. Yet there are studies that have been proven that many people make decisions, especially buying decisions or choosing a service, based on emotions and how they feel in the process of interaction, in the process of getting a quote. And I can tell you a little story, a sideways story. We have to replace an electric panel in the house, and I had to reach out to 4 electrical companies to come and give me estimates, and some came and some gave me over the phone. And the ultimate decision was in a way that I felt how I was treated, in a way that I felt, was I heard or not? Yes, there was a price point decision there, but when I look at where am I gravitating to, is I think that the salesperson, they really talk to me in a way of respect, of knowledgeable, like people, knowledgeable person to knowledgeable person, and sometimes we forget, and maybe we have this kind of interactions with customers, like we're on this level, because we know and possess the knowledge of the industry or whatnot, and the customer is kind of on the lower level. And when you talk in this way, you kind of make the other person feel a little dumber, and they're like, we're like, and that's just not the best way. And again, it's coming to the level of the customer, and even sometimes when you come lower a little bit, and listening to the needs of a customer. And I love how you said your first customer is your employee. So coming to that level of employee, maybe lower, and listening to the needs of that customer who's your employee, and to say, how can I help this customer of mine, which is my employee, to thrive, not just survive in this job, like talking to Laura's, not just survive, but thrive. And when I help my customer, who is my employee, to thrive, then guess what? This is going to expand to my external customer. And then that customer would want my external customer to feel that they're thriving. They wouldn't be talking down or, or finding ways to not to be responsive or whatnot. And this is how, on our last point, Jill, and we're touching how your employee experience really matter to the company and to your customers. And maybe you could give us a couple more examples on that point as well.
Yeah, sure. So, when idea that you triggered in me thinking about my real estate business, and the importance of the emotional. And it is true. People will buy emotionally and justify logically. Real estate is a perfect example of that. So whether I was representing a buyer or a seller, depending upon what it is, in most cases, I was representing the seller, and I would create the home. I would, put flowers and bake cookies, or have grape juice with cinnamon on the stove. So it creates this sense of this emotional response, this association. And there are things that are just little tools that the presentation is really important. And so I would always recommend, if somebody had like a wall that was a green wall, to make it neutral. You want people to walk in and have this emotional response. You want them to walk in and say, I love it. I can see myself here. I'm going to put that sofa there, and I want to put this photograph there. They emotionally react and respond, and they connect. And no matter what, they're going to want that house. They're going to buy it. And the same thing sometimes when I'm representing the buyer, whomever it is, I always want to point out to them, I don't just do it for the sale. I want them to be happy. I want them to make the right choice. And sometimes I'll even say to someone, I'm not sure, based on what you've told me, that this is the right place for you. Even though a lot of people are like, are you crazy? Like, just close the deal. I'm like, no, it's not about that. And, and I would say, sometimes we need to look at our emotions. Are they getting away from us? And is it really the right choice? But because they're so strong, people will 100% go in and buy on that emotion. And so it
Yes.
ties into any experience that you have.
I agree with you. I love your little caution note at the end. So be cautious. You gotta know sometimes some of the industries, they are so good at psychology, and they really know how to, like what you mentioned is a beautiful example of coming from a place of heart, coming from a place of goodness and wishing people well. But there are some industries or some individuals that know the triggers, that know the psychology, they know how to trigger the emotions, and maybe they would abuse it in a way that just make a buck, just make an extra profit, and not really care and what's going to put people into what kind of situation. I could tell you the best marketers are probably credit card companies. They're gonna sell you the dream. It's just get into get a credit card and get into the slavery, and then you're gonna pay for life. So it's
selling the dream. Selling the dream. You expressed that perfectly. It is these marketing companies they are in fact selling you a dream. They're selling you a wish. They're selling you something that you can see yourself. That's what I want. And no matter what, they sell that emotional dream.
Yes. Yeah. So, beware, like you said, Jill, beautifully, beware of your emotional response. Looking back at my own experience, there were some purchases that I should have not made. And there are some purchases, like my husband is my net, I would say net, how do you say, guard, I guess, where I would come to him and say, I really, really, really need it. And he's like, no, we are on the track of getting out of that, and it's going to toss us back into debt. And then like a week later, I come to my senses and I'm like, thank you for making that decision. That was not a right decision for me to even ask you, right? So beware of that. And, and emotional triggers, talking in our subject today, Joe, emotional triggers can make or break employee experience, can make or break customer experience, right? And maybe as we close in today, maybe some of the advice that you give us or some tips that you give us, and we chatted a little bit about how everybody in the company, whether you are at the top, where you're the frontline worker and your contributor, everybody are engaged in creating this atmosphere. And from that standpoint, maybe give us a little bit of some of the valuable tips that you think we can all take away and implement.
I do think that every employee needs to show up for work like they are a leader and they're responsible for the success of that company, to take ownership and pride in whatever it is that they do. And when you do that, regardless of what you do, if you're sweeping the floors, if you show up in that way, you are going to be recognized for that and you will be promoted for that. Everyone around you will feel that energy. You're going to be contagious to everyone. So I would encourage people to really think about being that beacon of light and example for those around you, and it will make them want to be better. And before you know it, you will have created this amazing work family, this team, this collaboration, true cohesive group that's going to support each other no matter what they do. And it's going to make the experience of coming into work pleasurable. Every day you're going to want to come to work. It's going to position you for great raises. And, again, it doesn't even matter. Like you said prior, no matter what level you are in your company, if you show up 100% with who you are and confidence and know that I'm going to strive to be better every day and I'm going to strive to help someone else in my company, then you're going to be better as an employee. And your customers are naturally going to be better. And therefore, the company is going to make more money. They're going to have more sales. They're going to have more repeat customers. They're going to go out and give great reviews. You should ask them for those reviews. You need to have that call to action, right? You can't expect them to do it on their own because people leave and they don't think about it. But when you've already delivered great experience for them, and then you say, if you feel we've done a great job for you, would you please, right? You position it, you're asking, and they're like, of course I will. Oh my gosh, look what you just did for me, right? So it's this beautiful cycle. It's this reciprocity that works. And when we all have great experiences in life, we're customers, regardless of working wherever we work, we're customers every day, multiple times a day. And so the part that lights me up and that I love the most about this work and about the importance of this and why I'm so obsessed is when we have those better experiences every day, multiple times a day, we think about just, sometimes you're not even aware of it, but you just feel better. You just have this smile on your face. You're like, oh, I just feel really good. I don't know why. Imagine if everyone in this world felt that way because of the experiences we had interacting with one another. What a better world, what a better place we would live in. And so I would leave with that, just saying, to make a better world, to make a happier, more productive world, a more peaceful world and collaborative world, it starts from the inside. It starts with us and what we bring, whether we're on the customer side being polite and respectful or on the employee side, what we bring out.
I love this, Jill. This is a beautiful conclusion, and I love your mission. Let's start with ourselves. Let's be the change you want to see in this world, and let's change this world to be a more beautiful, cohesive, brighter place for each one of us. Thank you so much, Jill, for coming in today and sharing your wisdom and experiences and knowledge with us. It's been a fantastic conversation. I enjoyed it very much, and I hope you listeners and viewers have gleaned some golden nuggets from it as well. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And encourage anyone to reach out to me if you have any other questions or want some guidance or just want to talk about, your company's experience or your experience within a company and how we can make everybody's experiences better. I'm happy to speak. So just reach out and connect with me here.
reach out and connect with Jill on LinkedIn. Find her as Jill Raff on LinkedIn and send her a private message and connect with her, and make sure you stay in touch. She has a lot of things coming up as well this year, and I think this is going to be phenomenal. Thank you, Jill. Again, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Pleasure's mine.
Wow. This is really, really touching conversation. So many things that I've could relate myself to in my professional experience, in my personal experience. And it's all about our experiences, right? Whether we personally or professionally live our lives and grow our professions and want to grow and make an impact. Each one of us, I do believe, we have a values and desire to make impact with our work, with our lives. And what a noble way to be the change, to really, look at ourselves. And are we bringing light to people? Are we generating, a connections and safe and pleasant experiences for others around us, whether it be in our family, in our work environment, with our customers? And if we do so, the change starts with us. And I believe we can multiply that, and we can make a big change in this world and change this world to be a little bit of happier and better place for each one of us. Then thank you so much for joining in today. It's been my pleasure. Again, Happy New Year. Let's make this year fantastic. No matter what happens, let's persevere and let's make our experience and people's experience around us the ones that are wonderful and pleasant. Thank you, my friend, for joining today. It's been a pleasure being with you, and I'll see you next week.